So this is what we have today. Bunch of nail guns, 2 hammers, Makita and a Metabo. We have to see what we can make of these. Older DeWalt, no parts available. Senco, same thing, can't get parts for these anymore over here in Ireland, so let's see what we can do with them too. So everything here is actually in from one customer. They dropped all this stuff in together to get fixed along with a Bosch hammer. The Bosch hammer is the only thing they needed fixed straight away. So they got that fixed and we're waiting to get these ones looked at. So we're going to look at these today now, see what we can fix. Right, we'll start with the questionable ones. DeWalt. Probably asking, why even send this in? Old type gun, old type battery, obsolete, why bother? These here are actually the good second fix nail guns. Original DeWalt. These things would do a crazy amount of work. Only danger with them, only problems, was the batteries. NiCad. These will eventually died. Even now, anything that's dead now, not really worth replacing these. What you do now is you get an adapter for the old NiCad to lithium. So you can use your lithium batteries and these tools. These things are just work and work and work. Main problem with these guns now, DeWalt copped on to how good they are. How everybody who bought the new guns was actually going back to the old guns. So all the parts are now obsolete. So DeWalt no longer sell the parts for this thing. If your motor goes, if your actual driver, cradle, axis, that sort of stuff, nothing you can get for them. They're obsolete and you can't fix them. So this one, normal crack, has 2 batteries. Why is it not running? Well, it's not running because the batteries are dead. So whether they're good or not, doesn't matter. We'll leave them to one side because it's cheaper to buy an adapter and uses DeWalt batteries than normal lithium batteries now. When she starts, hand's sticking out, so that's not right. And the nail feed is jammed. There we go. It's actually just a wee bit of rust. She's been lying up a long time. She's rusted on. So a wee clean might get that going again. See what's wrong with the pin here first. This might be a simple one. As old as it is, these parts might be available. There's your old axis for putting pressure on your driver. Lots simpler compared to the newer ones. Very rare to give trouble either. Pull that leg out. Don't forget the spring inside. Pull your driver out. That's actually fairly fresh. It's not cut in yet. Plenty of life left in that. Looks like the only problem is the return bands. These have snapped. Luckily these are still available. Two return bands. Just a piece of rubber is all it is. This acts as a spring for pulling the pin, the driver unit back again. You slide in there. This wee plastic piece goes on the back to stop it pulling through again. It just clips back on to your driver unit. Very simple and very effective. spring and your wee step foot. It's been lying up a long time, she's very stiff all over. Yeah, it's just too stiff there. Yeah. Something else going on there. Yeah. Bend in that pan. Just bent up this way. Tip is actually rubbing. That's what that's snagging. So we need to replace this. Not the whole unit, just the pan. Little chamfer on one side of the pan that faces the nails, it faces down here. Slide your wedge on. Now we have to bend it down to hold this in place. Just get yourself a flat piece of steel, put it against the back of the wedge, clamp that on a vise. Then you can tap this with your hammer and a flathead screwdriver to bend it round. Simple as that. It should be a lot freer. That's better. It'll do the trick. Slide your pin back in place. Bolt everything back down again. Now, that should hopefully be hurt. But rusty. A wee bit stiff. A little bit of use. She soon frees herself up. She's making all the right noises, but will she fire some nails? That's her. One old DeWalt DC618 Type 1 from 2012. Up and running again. Only needed a couple of return bands and a new firing pin, which is lucky enough because just about everything else on this gun is now obsolete and cannot be obtained anymore. So that's her fixed. Next up, we'll go with a Senco. Nails in her, 16 gauge. Test this one out. Aha. Right, she's going through the motions, she's just not actually firing. She's making the shot, she's just not putting it a nail. You can see the pin up in there. Well, that's handy. So that's not good. That's not to say Senco is a bad brand. They make bad nail guns or anything. The problem is, since Brexit, this Irish market is actually too small for Senco. So most of them suppliers are no longer doing parts for them. Too much hassle and paperwork getting parts into Ireland now. So most Senco stuff is now gone. You still buy some of the tools, but if they go wrong, you have to fix them. Nobody's really supplying any of the parts. So that one's a no. It's a trigger. So that comes with a whole trigger assembly. An O-ring or two inside of there that's actually worn, got a shoulder on it or a wee bit of wear. Here's getting past it. It's not letting the pin, it's not taking the pressure out of the pin area so it doesn't get fully go back. The actual firing pin itself stays under a little bit of pressure so it doesn't get fully retracted inside. Easy fix if you can get the parts. I'm not going to have the O-rings for that trigger here. They're tiny little things. I'm not going to have the exact size. And I can no longer get spare parts from Senco. So I'm afraid that one's a no-go. Now, next up we have a nice little Makita chipping hammer. This is the Makita HM0810T. You can feel a lot of vibration actually going back into the handle there. So see the striker's locked onto the piston, or else the seals are gone. Right, it's not given any kind of kick. First thing, check inside. Now, Makita angle grinder wrench, I'll actually do the same thing here for opening this cap. Common rod's still attached, she's not slack, still has grease in it, so that's not the problem. Nothing wrong there. These don't actually have an O-ring. A spring clip one. The seal lasts much longer. Very rarely wears out. Striker's not moving. She's fitted same type seal. Should be okay. So it looks like the actual striker is jammed inside. So the piston goes back and forth, makes the compression, throws this hammer piece back and forth with the compression, and that hits this striker here, which is fixed inside, and when it goes back and forth, that's what actually hits your chisel. So if this isn't moving, the force isn't getting through onto your chisel. So this hammer's probably hitting the striker. The striker's not moving at all. So to open this, which can be a real torture, because this is a threaded connection. Clamp this in the vise, get a big spanner on here, maybe a bit of heat, twist it off. Just in case we have to use heat. Pull the sleeve off so it doesn't burn. Now, this is a threaded connection onto here. This actual tool holder end threads onto this housing here. It's not a left hand thread, it's just a standard right hand thread. So it has to twist this way to come apart. It'll just be a bit tricky getting this locked into the vise securely, because it takes a lot of leverage to take this off. So you get yourself a packer onto the vise for the body of the tool holder to rest on. So the hammer pipe can rest on this nylon block. That's a square section here, you're clamping on the vise. Then get yourself a big spanner. That on there securely, and then get yourself a nice big torque amplifier. As you can see, this one's been used before. It's all oval shaped. Get that on there, and a good lock of heat. Heat up the housing then to expand the metal, to help loosen the hold on the threads and to soften the Loctite that's been applied. And then hopefully a wee bit of force it should come off. Nice one. That can be an awkward job. These can be seriously locked tight into place. And there's your problem. There's your problem. See, this is cocked to one side and not moving. So now I've got to get that out. So how do we get that out of the steel housing? Simple. By using my favourite method, gentle persuading. That's the bolt out. Why was it jammed in the first place? Dirt. Crammed full of gunk. Get out these seals and O-rings. Get everything cleaned out. Wash that out. Wash this all out. These seals may be okay. They're not doing an actual oil seal, they're just keeping the dirt out. They're not a high tolerance part. Main thing is this impact bolt. We want to make sure there's no damage on that. The actual chisel sits inside of this thing. This is generally the point of contact is for dirt and grass. It starts getting behind us, it starts to bind up. A wee bit away from where the O-ring is, or from where she's seated, which is otherwise fine. Yeah, you feel the grit of bits of dirt stuck in that O-ring. So that's what she was more than likely getting snagged on. It's amazing, with enough dirt inside a tow holder, I can actually stop the actual hammer mechanism. All this gunk now, a good clean out. That's her. That's the way she should be moving. Nice and loose. So, that one's okay. This one's not. So she's been chewed up a bit, and it's a bit gritty as well. Get rid of that. Replace it with a new one. Just for a simple O-ring. It's actually not cheap. So re-grease these rings. Ring housing first. Make sure there's a bit of grease inside. Slide this into place. There we go. Then get the X-ring in as well. That's her. Put more grease on your impact bolt and on the side. Slide that down. And that should move nice and freely. That's what we want. Now for reinstalling, just a little dab of Loctite on the threads. just to ensure this doesn't back out. Steel ring here. You can thread the two back together. To torque this down, you need to put it on 250 Newton meters of torque to tighten this down right. To help you do that, flip it round so you're torquing the other way. So having it like this just means you're applying the torque down the way instead of pushing it up. So that's about 1 meter. And that's about 25 kilo. That should do it. Now for the rest of this, I'm just going to use Makita grease. A little bit more liquid, the bosch stuff. Doesn't need too much, so I'm not going to be going mad with this stuff. Push that on, a little bit extra. That's that ready to go. As for this, the tricky bit of this one is actually the pin holding the two together. It's a fairly slack fit, so it generally just drops down. It's easier to do this on its side. Knock that on and reinstall your bolts. That on. Now, making mistakes. Should have put this sleeve on while I had the tool holder off. That just made it easier. I took that off to make sure it didn't burn it. Just to be sure. Get plenty of extra Makita grease into this hammer section too. Now, push your kick. Well, she's not hammering back the way anyway. It's a good start. Look at that. Like new again. One Makita HM0810T hammer. Striking again. Jammed up, impact bolt. Freed out, cleaned out, new o-ring fitted, and new grease. Is that one done? On to the next. Next up, DeWalt Gun, second fix. Newer type one, this is the DCN 660. I hope it's not that. Maybe not. Right, which is not all the way starting. I hope this isn't the actual problem, but this switch isn't actually engaging either. She's jammed. A lot of rust on it. Certainly not been cared for, so probably water's got on down here and rusted them springs. She's jammed up the switch here. But the trigger or the plunger, when they don't start when you plunge them down, very simple. For some reason DeWalt designed these guns. If you have the probe set all the way back, so it's firing as deep as possible, so it doesn't actually make enough travel to engage the switch inside. Very stupid design fault. Take your probe out a little bit. Starts every time. Nails on it. Fired here, make sure she works. Yep. Right, so this may be a very simple one. Get the grease away first. She's running, she's firing, she's shooting the nails. Probe was just too far back, that's why she wasn't starting up. That's a very simple fix. This trigger, or this slide button, just not engaging bump mode. So I assume that's the main thing this is left on for. Yeah. See the rust on that? She's just jammed up. No, she's also not good on the bump mode. Switch isn't working. Instead of replacing it, just clean it. See if it works now. Much better. As for these, get them moist sand. Just to smooth them out. The same with this. Because that one's dirty, more than likely the switch will be dirty as well. It's working, doing everything it should do, but it could be a case where it's going to start failing soon. So we'll also just wash this out. Yeah. She's a bit dirty, alright. Yeah, that a good clean out. And that should hopefully keep this running for longer. It'll save a trip in some other time. That should be her. Get your little leaf springs back into place. And your chain switch. Drop them all on together. Cables out of the way. Reinstall your cover. Should we're ready to go. Next one. A common thing I get asked for in these things is the non-contact tip, wee rubber tip for the end of the probe so it doesn't mar into the wood surface you're working on. Get asked for them all the time. You do realise the gun comes with a spare. The amount of time somebody comes into the shop asking for one of these things, they have to take it off their own gun to go up and show the thing is on their gun already. Spare one kept there on your gun, comes with it from you. If this one breaks, stick that one on. Test this one out. That's it. Another one fixed. DeWalt DCN 660. Got a rust damage on the switch. The switch was dirty. Cleaned out the springs, the switch, and that one. Simple fix. Keeps the gun running. Since we've done a DeWalt, as well go to the next DeWalt. This one is not looking healthy. Look at the rust on that thing. Not the best guns for outdoors, to be honest. Once she starts, click, click. Right, one shot, then she's clicking. As in one nail fired, and one nail only. Might just be springs in this one. Yep. Hope that's not oil. No, it's not. Just rust. Bad as rust may look on it. It'll do it no harm. One of the electronics it's going to destroy when it gets wet. Eventually it'll wear the pin out faster, but it's not going to do it any damage in the meantime. Definitely need springs anyway. That one's gone in 4 pieces. Now, the rust on this isn't good. But like I say, it'll do no damage for now. You can't go and replace a driver unit at €85 just because there's a wee touch of rust on it. But if a set of springs get this running, it'll be well worth it at that. These are a consumable part anyway. They're not a warranty part or anything like that if they break within the year. In fact, DeWalt, the axis, the driver, the springs, all that stuff, if they break within the year, are under warranty. They're not covered under warranty. These are all considered wearable parts. They don't last, and they eventually wear out completely, so they don't cover them. Hopefully this one we'll just get away with this. It is all rusted. Everything's still free enough. Apart from the head a little bit. But any DeWalt stuff, nail guns, oh, even that's rusted up. Signs on them: do not oil. There's actually another sign there, that one's gone. So I know this is rusted up, but I'm most certainly not going to do it on a YouTube video of me putting oil in this thing. So oil on these guns will kill them. They're rusted. As long as they're free, leave it be. If you want to put a tiny wee bit rubbed on with your hands, fair enough. But if you spray this with oil, it's going to work its way into the gun. Once it gets on the flywheel and the driver, that's it. Gun loses friction. She's a friction drive machine. She's not going to work right anymore. You can clean it out. You can get her going again. You can put on petrol, paint thinners, whatever, brake cleaner, clean out the oil. It will clean it out. The gun will fire, maybe 50mm nails, but 90s will never be sunk again. So do not put oil near these guns. Test this one out now. Nice one. Actually just a wee simple fix. As bad as the gun looks, it only needed a set of springs. She might be looking rough, but she's doing alright for a 2013 machine. It's got 8 or 9 years work done. Still going. That's not so bad actually. For €48, that'll keep her running now. Next up, we have a Makita headless pinner. This is the PT354D 12 volt 28 gauge headless pinner. What's wrong with this one? She's firing, but she's not putting out a nail. Well, that'll be why. Nails on her. Something wrong with the magazine. So what has he done there? Right. We can see what's missing anyway. Actual nail guide, nail slider for pushing up the nails. All this stuff here, these bars and these plastic housing and springs, that's only for putting tension on the nails against here. There's meant to be a metal slider then. It slides into this red boy. And this spring is what pushes the nails up and down. There's a wee U or L shaped piece of flat steel, hooks on there and sits on against these bars. The nails would sit above it and it would push them up. That's missing. How did this lock on? So we can see what's actually missing. The question is, what was broken that keeps this magazine on? There has to be something else. Oh, sorry. There's a magazine lock as well. And a spring. Right. I don't have these parts. Definitely not for this gun. There's only a 12 volt headless pinner. I don't even think I have a pin for one of these things. These are going to be ordered on. 3 parts anyway that I know of. Slider, a wee stop buoy that goes onto it, and then a spring as well. They're all missing. So I'll have to order them, and then put this back together, test it again. Hopefully it works, because if it's not, I'll have to order more parts. And these ones could take anywhere up to a month to come on. So can't do anything with this now. Order parts here now and wait for them to come on. Yet another nail gun, this time a Bostitch. Now, it's maybe a Bostitch gun, but this is actually the exact same gun as the Hitachi gun. Done a video on that the other day. Gas nail gun, Hitachi, the older type one, second fix. Pretty sure they're the same batteries as well. All the parts are interchangeable. I think Bostitch works out a wee bit cheaper for buying parts from. But they're still both a terrible gun. This one doesn't sound nice anyway. No, not working. Done to this and see what the crack is. Normally it's the motor or fan on this one. This hasn't been used in a long time anyway, 2020. Have a screw missing as well on this side. Wee bit dirty, but nothing major. Iron pan stuck at the bottom. Apart from that, it doesn't actually look that bad. Very dry, mind you. And there's very dry. Yeah, that motor just might be a bit dry as well. See if she starts and has a spark here. Motor runs and she has a spark. That's it. These may just be dead. Yeah, battery's flat. Right, have a spark. Motor sounds terrible. Bone dry. Wee brass bush inside them. The actual bearings, they've probably gone dry. That's the thing about these Bostitch and Hitachi motors. The fan is actually bolted on. That nut and bolt is on a brass spindle, which is actually pressed onto the spindle of the motor. So if you shear off this brass insert, you have to replace the motor. The motor goes, instead of spending 150 quid on the motor, you can dismantle all this and take out the wee tiny DC motor inside and replace it on its own. That's what I was doing. Still, this one still works. Sounds a wee bit rough, but she runs. So that's not the problem. This is probably the problem. The reason the pin hasn't come back is because the reed strip is probably jammed. little spring clip. Take that out of there. And you can remove top door on the gun. So she's actually not too bad. Yeah, she's bone dry. Give us a quick clean and a wee bit of oil. We'll have to get a charger on to get them charged up again. That should be all it needs. They're all gummed up, same as this chamber. Bone dry. Could be a problem on here too, so we'll just open this. Yeah. See the way she's actually blackened around here and there. That means this isn't seated properly. Should have two nice neat black circles here. They sit on top of this. If this doesn't seal up correctly, there's a one-way check valve. This is just a one-way valve to let the gas fumes out and then seals up then so that the pan can be sucked back. If that doesn't seal up, the pan doesn't go back. So we'll clean all that out as well. Once we're clean, now we just need to rebuild it. Again, there's a gas gun, plenty of oil and all the moving parts. Stagger your O-rings 180 degrees. They may not be the greatest gun in the world, but when you clean them out, they do come out nice and shiny. Or whatever way they finish this aluminium, if they polish it or what, it comes up shiny looking when you're done. Springs in there. Line them up to the yoke, lift them over, hold it in place. That's that bit. Just snug is all you need them. That's where that one doesn't work. Thread's been stripped out. Only one screw. Only one will be alright, do it no harm. Better with two, not essential. Not worth replacing that aluminium cylinder head anyway, just for one screw. Hopefully there's enough charge in this now to test her out. It's getting darker earlier now. That's her, up and running again. Quick service, get everything cleaned out. Get all the O-rings and seals re-lubed up again. Get the chamber oiled up again so it's running free. And the main thing was that reed strip on top. Cleaned that out so it's actually taking the pin back again. The way to charge these batteries, I was just boosting it off another lithium cell because it's only 3.6. It's just one 18650 cell inside of that. Just hot wired it on to another battery to get it charged up enough to test it. I don't have a charger nor battery to test this on, so that should be her. Apart from that, nothing really else needed. One other thing before I go. Let's put this back in. This just holds the two halves together. Stops them separating when you're running it. It just pushes in there and holds the two together. Only small, but very much needed. Might not be the best gun in the world, but €40 for a service keeps it running for now. That's her. And now, lastly, from this pile of tools, these are all in from the one person, by the way. We have a Metabo hammer. Right, that's not good. See what's going on here. Motor's obviously jammed but it's a jam due to a failed bearing or a bad motor. There we go. Can't even get my fingers on there. Well, that's not turning. There's a motor problem. So just check up here as well. Oh, this is the awkward one. Take off the whole gear head to get into this. This one's the KHE 5/40. Normally they're like the Bosch ones, you can take the top cover off. This one's not. A little bit more difficult. Never like working on these things just for this reason. To take the handle apart, you have to take the handle apart, take the handle off, instead of just taking this back plate off. You actually dismantle the handle as well. It's not like the Bosch. You can just take out 4 or 6 screws and it just pulls off. Take all this off as well. For that, brushes are gone now. There's our problem. Top bearings totally collapsed. And that motor's not moving. This might be too far gone. That bearing's okay. He's been rubbing here. Might be just a bit of plastic. Housing's okay at the bottom. Looks like some of the fan might have just rubbed against the field, burned a bit of plastic off, and it's been rubbing around. When I was just cooled down and stopped, just solidified down and stuck. Hopefully this is okay. This is the main problem, this bearing. To change that, to get it to run, this armature is now suspect. So this could be gone. We're not going to know definitely until we switch it on. So we'll change that bearing. Right, clean up this field, make sure there's nothing else jamming it. Just file down that wee bit of plastic. This is primitive, but quickest way to get this melted plastic off. So should get away with that. Just also make sure your teeth aren't damaged. Because that bearing's gone, can chew up the gears. This one looks okay. Let's see if we can do with this. This looks okay. Try to leave that stuff on there for now. Now remember, we don't actually know if this is going to work, so you don't want to go stripping this whole thing down and servicing it. You could service this whole thing, and the motors, you could service this entire thing, the motor could be completely gone. Don't be putting into that kind of effort into it just yet. She's just a pressed on bearing. Oil seal down here. Right, same thing. Don't want to destroy the oil seal, just want to get the bearing out. Support it. This will be supporting the housing and not the bearing. And heat it. $6,002. This one's a 6,000. Keep that on while it's still hot. That's that ready. Now for the really awkward bit. Bearings in, seal's good. I have to put it back together. This machine is literally back to front, upside down. Top doesn't open, you can only open it from the motor section. So all this has to go into here. This is the problem here, this gear. This is what runs your piston. So you can either open up the change lever and start dismantling the entire machine to get these gears back in again, and then line up the piston onto this gear to reassemble it, or do it half-ass method, leave it the way it is, put this down on top. So otherwise I could be at this for an hour or so. Don't get too many of these in. I'm glad I don't, because they are so awkward to do. Best thing to do, that's just a wear piece to keep this aluminium housing good. Stops this gear wearing out the aluminium. Just a steel washer basically. Put a bit of heavy grease on it, hold it in place. Re-grease your bearing. Put a bit of grease on your oil seal. And for a bit of luck, put a wee bit down in there, just in case the machine works perfectly. The extra grease will help it run and hammer better. We actually have to clean this out as well, so put a bit of extra stuff around here. See if I can get this on without dismantling everything else. Nice one. It's not often it goes on that easy, but I'm glad it did. Get your armature back in. Turns anyway, so everything inside of here is working. Get your air deflector back in, Again, this is a half-assed one because I don't know if this armature is definitely going to be good. A bit of grease just helps that rubber boot seat onto the housing. Don't actually have the Metabo brushes. Bosch ones are going to have to do. Look at that. One saved Metabo hammer. New bearings in the motor, new set of brushes. And she's hammering again. One Metabo hammer. This is the KHE 5/40. 2018 Metabo hammer, up and running again now. Two bearings saved the motor, unjammed it, new set of brushes, new grease, gets her up and running and hammering again. Now that I know the motor's good, I could reservice this, strip it all down, do a complete service on this thing, but why bother? We already know the motor's good, well, the bearings are good, I know it's hammering. Servicing it now isn't really going to give you any benefit. She's not going to come out performing any better than what she is already. Maybe the hammer will be a little bit stronger, not that much. 70 quid now, gets it up and running again. If I do a full service on it, it's going to cost another 80 or 100 on top of that. Better off just keeping her running here now, getting her back to work and earning money.